You've probably been told dementia is genetics. It either comes for you or it doesn't. The largest expert review ever done says that's wrong about nearly half of it. In the next 10 minutes, I'll give you the exact weekly schedule researchers used in the biggest brain health trial ever run to reduce the risk of dementia after 60. And it starts with 2 phone calls, not a workout. 6 steps. 1 week. That's the whole thing. These are the 6 habits research links to a lower risk of dementia with the real numbers attached. How many minutes, how many days, how many servings. And step 6 is the one that separated the winners from everyone else in that trial. Most videos never mention it. Here's what changed. In 2024, the Lancet Commission, a standing panel of the world's leading dementia researchers, published an updated report. Their conclusion: around 45% of dementia cases worldwide could potentially be prevented or delayed by addressing 14 risk factors. 14 things, not one gene. And the biggest single one on that list isn't diet, and it isn't exercise. It's untreated hearing loss. The 2 newest additions to the list are high cholesterol in midlife and untreated vision loss later in life. But knowing the risk factors is not the same as knowing that changing them helps. And last year, the biggest American brain health trial ever run showed that changing them works, even for people carrying the gene most strongly linked to Alzheimer's. I'll show you exactly what they did. Your family history is a starting position, is not the finish line. Before the steps, 3 honest things. This video is educational, not medical advice. Check with your doctor before you change your exercise, your diet, or anything to do with your medication. Second, dementia is not fully preventable. People who do every one of these things still develop it. And if you've already lost someone, nothing here is a verdict on what they did. Third, you do not need all 6 this week. 1 is real progress. Let's go. Step 1. Book 2 appointments this week, a hearing test and an eye exam. I'm putting this first because it's the highest return for the least effort on the whole list. There's no willpower involved. It's a phone call. A trial called Achieve followed nearly 1,000 adults with untreated hearing loss for 3 years. Across everyone in the study, the hearing aids didn't produce a measurable difference in 3 years. But in the group who were most at risk to begin with, older, more risk factors, already declining faster, hearing treatment slowed the decline in thinking by 48%. Nearly half. In the people who needed it most. Researchers think a straining ear starves the brain of input and pulls you out of conversations you used to be part of. Same logic for your eyes. Untreated vision loss made the list for the first time in 2024. Cataract surgery and an updated prescription are ordinary medicine. This is the rare case where a fix comes from a clinic instead of a habit. And if you already own hearing aids that live in a drawer, this step is yours too. Most people who quit them quit in the first 2 weeks because everything suddenly sounds loud and tinny. That's normal, and it's what the follow-up appointments are for. Wearing them a few hours a day and building up beats a perfect device in a drawer. Step 2. Learn 2 numbers, your blood pressure and your LDL cholesterol. A trial of more than 9,000 adults called Sprint Mind compared tighter blood pressure control against standard control. Tighter control lowered the risk of mild cognitive impairment by 19%. A follow-up published last year found the benefit was still there years after the treatment period ended. And high LDL cholesterol was added to the dementia risk list in 2024. It now accounts for an estimated 7% of cases. I'm not going to give you target numbers. The right number is different for a 70-year-old with heart disease than for a healthy 62-year-old, and that conversation belongs to you and your doctor. Your job is only this. Find out what your 2 numbers are and ask what yours should be. If you check at home, sit still for 5 minutes first, feet flat, arm resting at heart height, and take 2 readings a minute apart. Step 3. Walk between 30 and 35 minutes 4 times a week. That's not a round number I invented. That's the exact dose the Pointer trial used. And the pace matters. Moderate means you can still talk in full sentences, but you couldn't sing. If 35 minutes is too much at once, split it. 2 walks of 18 minutes counts. Then add strength and stretching 2 days a week. If you've done the balance routine or the knee routine from my last 2 videos, that's your 2 days. You're already there. Why does walking reach the brain at all? because the brain runs on blood flow, and the same small vessels that feed your legs feed your memory. One more thing that matters as much as the walk itself. Don't sit still for hours between them. Get up every hour, even for 2 minutes. 4 good walks a week and 11 hours in a chair are still 11 hours in a chair. Step 4. Eat for the brain, and it comes down to a handful of specifics. 1 serving of dark leafy greens a day. Spinach, kale, collards, romaine. Researchers at Rush University followed almost 1,000 older adults. The ones eating about a serving of greens a day were tracking cognitively, like people 11 years younger than the ones who ate none. Berries twice a week. Berries specifically, not fruit generally. They're the fruit that keeps showing up in the brain research. A small handful of nuts most days. Fish once a week. Olive oil as your default cooking fat. And beans and whole grains a few times a week. That combination is called the MIND diet. And in that same Rush study, the people who followed it most closely were tracking about 7.5 years younger in their thinking than the people who followed it least. That's an association, not a guarantee. But of everything on that list, the green is the one I'd start with. And a serving is smaller than people think, about a cup of raw greens or half a cup cooked. The easiest way to hit it every day is to stop treating it as a salad. A handful of spinach folded into eggs, dropped into soup, or stirred into whatever's already in the pan disappears completely. Frozen counts, and it's cheaper. The bag in the freezer never wilts, so it never becomes the thing you meant to eat. Step 5 is the one people get wrong, and Step 6 is the one that decided the whole trial. Stay with me. Step 5. Between 15 and 20 minutes of brain training, 3 times a week. Pointer used a computer program that gets harder as you get better. That last part is the whole point. Here's the mistake. Doing the same crossword every morning for 15 years is not brain training. It's a habit you're already good at. The brain adapts to difficulty, so the difficulty has to keep moving. A language app, an instrument, a training program that levels up, the format matters much less than the direction. The rule is simple. If it still feels a little hard, it's still working. If it's become comfortable, it's become exercise for a muscle you already built. Step 6. Do all of it with other people. Here's that trial I promised you. A study called U.S. Pointer put 2,111 Americans between 60 and 79 through 2 years of lifestyle change. Everyone in it was sedentary, eating poorly, and carrying extra risk. Half got a structure program with coaching. Half got the same advice and were sent home to do it themselves. Same exercise targets, same diet, same brain training. The ingredients were identical. Both groups' thinking scores improved. The structured group improved significantly more because the structured group got one extra thing: 38 team meetings over 2 years. Coaching, a schedule, and a room full of people expecting them. The ingredient that separated them wasn't an ingredient at all. It was other people. And the benefit held across age, across sex, across ethnicity, across heart health, and across the gene. Even people carrying APOE4, the gene most strongly linked to Alzheimer's, benefited just as much as everyone else. And this is doing 2 jobs at once. Social isolation is itself one of the 14 risk factors on the Lancet list. So the group keeps you doing the work, and the group is part of the work. It does not need to be a program, a walking partner, a standing Tuesday phone call, a class, a church group. One person who notices when you don't show up is enough. So here's your one action today. Not all 6. 1. Call and book the hearing test. It takes 4 minutes to book, and it's the single biggest modifiable risk factor on the list. Then tomorrow morning, walk for 30 minutes and ask one person to come with you. That's steps 1, 3, and 6 in one day before lunch. And if the thing sabotaging all 6 is that you're awake at 3 in the morning every night, that's the next video. The 45% isn't a promise, and it isn't a headline you get to keep just by watching a video. It's a phone call you either make this week or you don't.